Okay. Good evening, Bastogne, Belgium. Live from LZ Bunker. This is a Veterans Live Show. I'm your host, Ronny. I served with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam, 1967 and 1968. Tonight we have our beloved 101st Airborne trooper and friend, Vince Speranza. Vince fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and which also was part of that was the battle around Bastogne and the encirclement of the troops there. Okay, welcome, Vince.
Welcome to you.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well for an old man.
Okay, well, we just got over another Battle Ambassadors of Bastogne banquet at West Point 2 weeks ago. Ain't that something, how they commemorate that event?
I was there, and I...
Yeah, it's fabulous how they every year they have that. I've been going about 35 years. How about you? Can you hear me?
No, there's something wrong.
I hear you.
It says, refresh a page. Let me click some things here.
What? Yeah, hang with us, the audience. Yeah, can you hear? Talk to me, Vince.
I hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, there you go.
We're on.
So, Vince, give us a little background from when you grew up, where you were born, where you were, and where you go into the Army.
Well, I grew up during the Depression. I was born in 1925 in New York there. And big family, 8 children. And, back in those days, it was easy to be a good kid. The only 3 influences on your life were your parents, the church, and the school. And they were all saying the same thing. Be a good boy, pay attention to the priest. Priest says, pay attention to your parent. Teachers say, pay attention to the priest. The influences on our lives were all benign, and of course, boys will be boys, and we got into the things there that our father had to give us a few whacks for. But I grew up just nice, people talk about, how terrible it must have been during the Depression. You grew up. No, it wasn't. There was always enough food. I had 4 sisters who used to wash our clothes every week. We had clean clothes and lots of in the Italian families, music and so on all the time. So I have a very fond memory of my childhood.
So when the war happened, when the war broke out, what happened?
Yeah, fast forward to December 7th. It was a Sunday. I was a 16-year-old kid in high school, and I was on a bicycle riding to a store, and when I went in the store, everything was quiet. And I said, "Hey!" They said, "Roosevelt is speaking. He's saying something about the Japanese in Pearl Harbor." So I jump on a bike and I pedal home quick. I get to the house. I said, "Pop, quick, turn the radio on." He turns the radio on just in time for us to hear, "And a state of war exists between the Empire of Japan and the United States of America.
You sound great with that.
And we will help win the ultimate victory, so help me God." My father turned away from the radio. For the first time, I saw tears in his eyes. He lined up his 4 sons, and like this with a finger, "Boys, listen. They won't take me because I'm too old, but I expect my sons." We said, "We know, Papa, they won't take us till we're 18. My brother Al was 12. Rocky was 14. I was 16. Joey was the only 21, And he said, I know. But what I want you to know is how I feel about it. He said, "This country must not fail. Understand, boys? This country must not fail. Nowhere in the entire world can a man come here with nothing except a willingness to work. And look at us today. I have 8 children, all being educated by the government for free through high school. We have a home and a car, and we have vacations. Boys, this country must not fail." Now, Ronny, a lot of times, I don't know what I ask you. What were you thinking about when you first did the jury combat? Well, there's a lot of things, but one of the things too was my father saying to me, "Listen, this country must not fail." Understand? And when he took me to the train before I went into the service, the last thing he said to me on the train was, "Figure me, fammi una cosa mi fugge la testa," which in Italian means, "Son, just don't be my head and shoot." I barely got out. I won't pop. And that too stuck here. And there were a lot of reasons why we knew we were there, but one of them was, don't shame the family name. And I get emotional even talking about it today, Ronny. But
Sure, yeah.
that's the kind of thing that sustains you when things are tough and you say, "Hey."
So what made you go into the Army, Vin?
Don't let your buddies down.
What? No, Army.
Say it again now. What was your question?
Why the Army, not like the Air Force, Marines, or Navy?
2 weeks after you're 18, you get a letter from the government says, "You're coming, or shall we come and get you?" No, it's a report to your nearest draft board, and
Right.
Which we did. And we thought at that time, we were going to get in, but no, they said that they give you a barrier. They said until we get enough training camps built and so on, you can't volunteer to get in. You have to wait until we call you. And at any rate, I was 18 years old in March. I had to wait till November before they finally called me. And when they called, they sent me to Camp Upton, New York, right near my home in New York, and they give you a battery of tests. And the officer sits down with you and goes over the results of your test. And he says, "You haven't put in mathematics, and you like artillery?" I said, "Yeah." And 90 in mechanical aptitude. You like the tanks? Yeah. When he gets all finished with telling me all the things I'm eligible for, he takes a big stamp, infantry, which is what we wanted anyway. If you're going to get into the fight, that's where the fight is. So from Fort Camp Upton there, they sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia, at the infantry school. And get off the bus, and here we are, all 18-year-old kids right out of high school. A big sergeant comes out. "My name is Mastorelli. You got it?" "Yes, sir." "Don't give me that sir shit. You saved that for the officers. My name is Sergeant Mastorelli, and I got 19 weeks to turn you little students into soldiers. And by God, I'm gonna do it. You got it?" We're scared shitless. We're shaking in the pants. And he says, "All you gotta remember is, when Sergeant Mastorelli says jump, you say how high and how far. You got it."
So how long was your training? How long was that training for?
19 weeks. And when
Okay.
we're all finished, all right, now we're gonna get into the fight. No, you gotta come back for 4 more weeks of advanced infantry training.
Ah,
And then we come back for 4 more weeks. And now we're ready. No, you got to come back for 2 more weeks. Heavy weapons training. Heavy weapons, 60 millimeter mortars, 50 caliber machine guns, and bazookas.
right.
But at any rate, at the end of those 19 weeks, the 4 weeks, the 2 weeks, now we're going to get into the fight, right? No, you have to be sent to a line outfit. Okay, well, they sent me to the 87th Infantry at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And at Fort Jackson, we're saying, all right, now we're going to get into the war. Jungle training in Florida, maneuvers in Tennessee. We kept saying, when the hell are we going to get into this fight? One day they took us, hey, it's going to be a demonstration today. We said, what kind of demonstration? Shut up and sit down. We sit down in the field, and Ronny, we look up, 3 C-47s come out of the sky, and we see the doors open, we see guys throwing themselves out of the door with a little white piece of thing there, taking them to the ground. Paratroopers were brand new when I was in. And he said, and we watched these guys come down to the ground. They roll up their parachutes. They come double timing off the field, and then they line up in front of us. And big beautiful guys running, shiny silver wings and a chest, and the jump boots with the pants blouse. Only paratroopers were allowed to do that during work. The blouse, the pants, and the boots. Short, good-looking guys. And the captain comes by and says, "Listen, this is the United States Army Parachute Corps. We're looking for a few good men. You have to be a trained infantryman. You had to have your 19 weeks, your 4 weeks, and your 2 weeks. Who wants to volunteer?" And we said, "But wait a minute. Throw yourself out of an airplane? There's $50 extra a month jump pay." They took 7 of us back to Fort Benning to the parachute school.
That's funny.
We learned to jump, and 5 weeks. The most beautiful training in the world. Damn it, I couldn't believe how we doubled up that training. When we came out of there, the jump school there, you felt like you could take on a whole goddamn German army by yourself. And it was November by this time, and I was shipped over on the Queen Mary, which was a troop ship then, to Scotland, and by train down to England. In England, they flew us into Camp Mourmelon in France, there in northern France, where the 101st Airborne Division, who just got beaten up bad in Holland, was sent into camp. And
Market Garden?
They came out of Market Garden pretty beat up. 7 days of combat, they lost 3,000 men. They had to leave half their equipment, so on. The 101st was supposed to get 90 days of rest, rehabilitation, replacements, and everything, the food and ammunition, so that it could be a fighting unit again. It wasn't to happen. 3 weeks after they came out of there, and I had joined them then, the Germans that nobody knew had saved up 25 divisions, 9 of them Panzer divisions, with over 1,000 of their newest tanks, the Mark IV, the Tiger Royals. And on December 16th, neither British intelligence nor American intelligence even suspected, they slammed into the Ardennes. The line then was being held by 4 American divisions, the 4th, the 28th, 128th, and 9th Armored, and smashed them to pieces. Now, we don't know any of this. We're in the barracks. Barrack lights come on. This is on the 17th. And a big sergeant goes, "Hey, drop you and grab your socks. We're moving up." We said, "You're crazy. The ground's frozen. We'll all break our legs." He said, "You're not jumping. You're going up in trucks." We said, "Holy shit, well, I have to think of all my airborne training, all my parachute. I'm going to make my first jump off the back of a truck." But from all over the barracks, "Sarge, I don't have a helmet. Sarge, I don't have a rifle. Sarge, I don't have a gun." I was a machine gunner without a machine gun. I had a trench knife then. I was supposed to get a machine gun. And none of us had winter clothes. They hadn't issued the winter clothes yet. We had the summer jackets and cotton pants and so on. And the sergeant said, "Stop bitching. Make a list and we'll get what you need along the way." And we believed him. "Oh, okay." We took a piece of paper. "I need a machine gun. And I need at least 4 or 5 cans of ammunition. And that's what I need, a rifle, I need a helmet," and so on. What's that? They put us on those trucks, jammed in so tight that you couldn't move. Wherever you were standing when you get in the truck, You had to stay there the whole trip. And that was the most miserable all day and all night truck ride you ever saw in your life. The temperature had dropped to below zero during those stupid summer floods.
What?
When
So how long did you?
no stops, you know.
Hey, Vince, how long when you got your clothes and stuff until you had your first contact with the Germans?
We got there the 18th, and the morning of the 18th, the night before we had dug in, and the next morning, when daylight came, you couldn't see anything. The fog was all the way down to the floor of the forest, and the, the you couldn't see 100 yards out front, and it was very quiet, very quiet. All of a sudden, the fog starts to lift, and you can see underneath a little bit. And in front of me, you know, I was in a Ford foxhole right outside of Monte, right outside. The ground, you know, sloped down a little bit, and then sloped up a little bit. Open field. I mean, you know, we said the cocky bastards, they're going to attack across an open field. We don't know, but woods on both sides. And when the fog lifted high enough for you to be able to see, Ronny, the whole world went on fire. Everything around you and under you, explosions. The ground shook like it was an earthquake. The sergeants are hollering, keep your head down, keep your head down, keep your head down. Correct, we didn't need any encouragement for that. All you could do is stick your nose down in the bottom of the damn foxhole and wait and pray that it. And later they told us a shell was landing every 8 seconds. They were throwing everything. Not only artillery, they had those new Katusha rockets that like 16 of them whoosh out of, or is it 12? Whoosh out of them all at once, and explosions all around. Ears hurt, our eyes started tearing.
Vince, was the ground frozen?
Oh, it was frozen.
So you couldn't really dig a deep foxhole.
My friend, you know, it took us 4 hours to dig that damn hole.
Wow.
And I had to do it twice because after the first one they moved us. That's another whole story. It's in the book of that night we got there. At any rate, the noise was so bad, our ears started to. Some guys' ears were bleeding. We put pieces of handkerchiefs in the ears and so on. But the concussion waves, you could see it. If to be introduced into combat this way was, I guess, not unusual. A lot of guys got their first contact in combat like that. But all I know is the world seemed like it was just one big explosion and fire all over the place. And I was sure we were going to get killed.
Yeah, there you go. Now, how long before the initial fire of skirmishes till when the Germans asked you to surrender?
That was 2 days from there.
Really? That's it? Just 2 days?
Yeah, today, the 22nd.
Wow.
But you know, the situation had gotten better. When this morning when the fight started, after about a 15-20 minute bombardment, tanks pop out of the woods. And now the German infantry comes back. It starts out from behind the woods there, and the tanks are coming up. And the sergeants are all yelling, keep your head down, let the tanks go by, as though we could do anything about it. And so, again, you stick your head down in the damn foxhole, and you watch them. The tanks are firing point blank into the foxholes. When they hit one, the guy disappears, his rifle goes floating up in the air, and you look and you say, my God. I mean, at any rate, the tanks go by, and the German infantry starts up behind them and so on. They were romping. It looked like they were like on a holiday. They had just beat the crap out of 4 American divisions, and they didn't know the 101st Airborne Division was in there. According to their intelligence, we were 130 miles south of Camp Monaco. They expected to romp right through here too, and they came up against in the snow there a row of barbed wire fence, and they paused them a little bit, and we were getting not yet. Set the sights at 400 yards. So we set the sights at 400 yards, and we wait. The second wave comes up, helping their buddies trying to get off these fences. And some of them slip through in the shooting, but they're tangled up. The third wave comes up. Now they've got knots of men all over the place there. Machine gunner's delight. The lieutenant said, now, my God, we opened up with everything we had. And the snow turned red. We slaughtered them. They later on, you read about them not admitting it, but they said this is not the regular American troops in there. There's somebody else in there, people who don't give ground, and they had to turn around and go back. The tanks now, no, their infantry's not behind them. And on their way back, McAuliffe artillery slaughtered the tanks. The first day for the Germans was a complete disaster. And on my front, where we were dug in and so on, it was a rout.
Okay, Vince, how long between that action and when the Germans came with the white flag?
Okay. That was the 18th.
2 days later.
The 19th, they rounded us. The frontal attacks don't work, so they're going to try to just bomb them from around. We're doing great. But now ammunition's starting to get low, and so is our food supply. And the weather dropped down even further. We were freezing. Frozen feet. We lost more men to frozen feet and trench foot than we did the bullets on the first day. That was an actual figure. But the lines hold. The lines are holding. And on the 20th, came in and bombed, and they're still beating the crap out of us and so on, pounding us all around and so on and so on. And we see a Jeep with a German with a white flag, waving a flag there. And cocky bastards that we were, we thought they wanted to surrender. We said, you had enough, eh? but then when we we don't know what's going on. Later on, we get it through rumors that they had asked them to take the German officers to our commander, and it turned out that the German officers were asking us to surrender, and McAuliffe's reply was nuts.
Okay, so Maxwell Taylor was back in the States, right?
Yep. And the commander was in England making speeches.
Right, and General Kennard?
So was General McAuliffe, and he was the artillery commander.
Right, there you go. Yeah.
But in Bastogne, he was the commanding general.
Correct.
The other two weren't around.
Okay.
And when we heard the Germans have asked us to surrender, and McAuliffe said, nuts? McAuliffe, he's a tough...
What did he say?
He was a tough... and then we said, well, maybe that's what they had put in the news.
I got some nuts here, Vince.
Newspapers, but I'm told that of course they can't print that in the paper, so they put down that he said nuts. We'll never know the truth, but okay, so he said nuts, and the Germans said, well, we're going to slaughter you now. We've got 15 million guns are coming again. But it didn't happen. When they went back, the artillery made a few desultory shots and so on, and that's all. Now, on the 22nd, that's today, the situation was really bad. Not only were we surrounded and getting pounded from all sides, the Luftwaffe had come in and finished flattening every damn building in the place there for the church. And since we had no place to put the wounded except the floor of the church, the supply was really bad, and we were down to 1K ration instead of 3 a day. And it just hurt. But the next morning, the sun came out. By the way, all through the first 3 days, we were bitching. Where the hell is our Air Force? The Germans are flying. We got the best Air Force, the most planes, the most pilots. Where the hell are we? And what we found out later was that the weather in England was impossible. They couldn't get off the ground. They were ready to come and supply, but they couldn't fly. But on the 23rd, the sun came out. The sun came out, and 6 P-47 Thunderbolts, fighter planes, came out. Sky. I'll never forget it. I see them coming through. It was a clear blue sky. The nacelles were painted red, yellow, and blue. 3 and 3. And they dove and bombed and strafed and bombed and blew. They plastered the tank. They silenced the artillery, and then a couple of hundred C-47s come in, dropping supplies. And by the way, we found out later, 95% of them came right where they were supposed to do. Now we, infantrymen, frontline infantrymen, overcoats, gloves, hats. You know what it's like to fight in below zero weather with your hands and your head freezing something? And after we distributed all the that, not one plane load of clothes, food, ammunition, gasoline, no clothes. we blessed them when they came in. We cursed them when they went out.
All right, but Vince, so tell me about the church. What was the church used for?
All right. After the first days bombing, when they surrounded and cut us off, the church and the seminary across the street from the church were the only 2 buildings that had walls. They were stone, the church and the seminary. And they had captured the field hospital. Or they shot up all the American personnel. They kept 5 of our doctors to serve in their army. 1 doctor and 1 Belgian nurse escaped and were in the town with us. That was our medical team for that whole 8 days battle. 1 doctor and 1 Belgian nurse, and only his own personal equipment, instruments. The Germans had captured everything else. They had it all. So the only place we could put the wounded was thrown on the floor of the church. And they sent the Germans also had captured all the beds and the blankets and everything. We went through town pulling drapes, curtains, bedspread, whatever we could find to wrap the wounded guys in. Those of us that had 2 blankets donated 1 to the wouldn't have made anything to the wounded, and it was a pitiful thing. When I went to look for my friend who had gotten hit in the church, I see these guys all laying there. By the way, in the movies they show you moaning and absolute silence. All these guys just taking whatever you said, wrapped in what the hell. I saw my friend with a curtain around his neck, and the doctor operating with candlelight, candles. And,
That's amazing. So, Vince, let's move over to the.
We lost a lot of guys that we had to feel like it would have saved. Go ahead.
Oh, for sure. Let's move down the road a little bit and talk about this. How this will come about. You were in the church talking to the guys, right?
No. It started that my friend got hit. His name is Joe, in both legs, and they brought him back to him on Florida Church. And first chance I got, my sergeant sent me back to get the batteries for the radio. I went to look for my friend, and I see him laying on the floor of the church there. Joe, how you doing? He said, not. Yeah, like a piece of shrapnel in the leg. I'll be out of here tomorrow. I said, no, you'll be out of here tomorrow. He said, yeah, just a couple pieces of shrapnel in the leg. I'll be out tomorrow. I said, well, that's great, Joe. I got to go back. Anything I can do for you before I leave? He said, yeah, go find me something to drink. I said, really, I'm not going to find you something to drink. We're surrounded and covered. There's no supplies coming in here. He said, go look in the taverns. I said, Joe, the taverns won't bum this shit. Go look in the taverns, you might get lucky. Hey! Your foxhole buddy wants a drink? You go find him a drink. It's snowing hard. Artillery's dropping in sporadically all around the church. And I'm slopping down the road looking for a tavern. And the first one I went in, all broken glass, there was absolutely nothing. But the second I went in still had a bar. And when I pulled the beer handle, beer came out. I said, oh. So I look around for a bottle or something to put the beer in. There was nothing. I took out my helmet, the same helmet you shit in the foxhole, swished a little snow in it,
This here?
And I filled it up with beer. Back to the church.
This here?
Yeah.
That's the one.
No, but you take the liner out of it.
Give me a beer. Give me something to drink, Vince.
No, well, you got to take the liner out.
Yeah.
The pot is what you put the beer in. You don't put the beer in like that.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, ready. Yeah.
Let's go.
I go back to the church and say, Joe, I got some beer. And he said, holy shit. So he sits up and I'm feeding him beer with the helmet. Hey, give me some of that. Hey, give me some of that. Hey, give me some of that. I was like an old mother cow there feeding all these guys a mouthful of beer. I ran out. Joe says, go get some more. Jesus Christ, Joe. Go get some more. Okay. I go slopping down the road again. This time, when I stepped out of the tavern, a shell landed nearby and knocked me down. I spilled most of the beer. But I wasn't hurt, so I got up and went back to the church. This time, standing in the doorway of the church like this is the regimental surgeon. Captain Wolfman. I'm private. What do you think you're doing, soldier? I said, bringing aid and comfort to the wounded? He said, you stupid jackass, don't you know I got chest cases and stomach cases in there? You give him beer, you'll kill him? Get out of here if I have you shot. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And put that helmet on. Put the helmet on.
Oh, that's funny.
Now I'm wet. But I ran like hell back to the foxhole before he changed his mind, had me shot. And as far as I was concerned, Ronny, that was an incident that happened during the war. And there was a million incidents during the war. I forgot all about that. The rest of the beer story is that 65 years later, when I first went back to see the battlefield for the first time, I meet these guys and Marco and Johnny Bone and so on. They took me out and showed me my foxhole.
Put it in that one. Okay, tell me. Put it in that.
There you go, Vince.
All the
How's
stuff
this?
that I had.
Hey, Vince, how's this?
Like that.
German beer in the helmet.
It's not airborne beer. They should put airborne beer in
Here's the
there.
airborne beer right here.
Yeah, okay.
All right. All right. Salute.
Salud. You are now an official member of the
There
Royal
you go,
Society of Beer Drinkers of Bastogne.
There you go. We got the real deal here. All right. And we got how about these hats?
Boy, how I wish I had one of those then.
I got one for you. I'll mail it to you.
Okay.
I got one, yeah.
About 77 years too late, but okay.
Hey, yeah, I'll mail it to you. No problem, bro. I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, man.
So,
We got the nuts. We got the helmet, the beer, Airborne beer helmet.
The back.
We got the clicker. Did you hear the story about the clicker in The Longest Day, the movie?
Oh yeah, I knew about that.
Yeah, that was real.
I got one. They gave me one. I have one.
You got one?
I got clickers.
You have one of these?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Show what was explaining.
So, in
So
other words, explain to us what the clicker did. The clicker. What was the clicker used for?
supposedly, if you clicked once and you got a response of 2 clicks, that was friendly. In other words, in Normandy, they were scattered all over the place and they didn't know who they were running into, especially at night. And the way you were supposed to identify yourself was click, 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 made in America. Of course, the problem was the Germans got a hold of them and everybody was clicking all over the place pretty soon. They had to throw them away because the signal didn't mean anything anymore. You click here, it showed you the Germans where you were, and they just fired on you. It was a good idea to start with, but like a lot of things when you plan a battle, some of the things that you expect to happen don't happen. They change.
Hey, Vince, what do you think of the Bastogne Historical Society?
What about it?
They do a good job, that museum?
Oh, well, I go there every year and speak.
Yeah.
They have my World War II stuff is in there.
Oh, good for you, man.
Airborne Museum. My original uniform and a lot of my equipment, and they made a wax statue figure of me that's in there, and I brought home a big Nazi banner, the 20-foot parade banners, It came off the mayor's house in Berchtesgaden. And, well, there are pictures there that show the stuff, my stuff in the museum.
Vince, we're going to show some pictures now. Who's this?
That's an 19-year-old kid now when I came out of the first battle.
Okay, next. Look at that handsome devil, man.
After I got home.
You look like you could sing on Broadway.
I was just let's see. That was a place called Fresh Hills.
Very nice. Look at that.
On Staten
Got
Island.
the jump boots on, got the blouse boots, got the glider pad.
I was still in the army. It took 30 days after I got home before I got discharged.
There you go. What do you got next, Matt? There you go. When did this take place?
2 years ago, the Golden Knights. And by the way, if you see the video of that thing, you see the perfect landing he came into. He perfectly slid along the ground. I'm on top of him. I didn't feel a thing. He absorbed the whole shot. And I said, this is the way to jump. I go for a ride, and he takes the bumps.
There you go. In fact, the Army's playing football tonight, so we'll give this one to them, all right? Who's this?
Uh-oh. Somebody that they gave a couple of scotches to, and he started singing.
Seems like he's singing something.
That was the parachute song with the ADT people in Oklahoma. The jump school there, they usually ask me down every year to pin the wings on the graduates in command. And afterwards, we have a party, and that's a video of singing.
Hey, Vince, here's the deal. We would like you to sing the Blood Upon the Risers, and I'll sing the chorus with you.
Tonight?
Can do? Okay, sing Blood Upon the Risers, and I'll do the chorus with you.
Everybody happy, cried the sergeant looking up. Our hero bravely answered yes, and then they stood him up. He jumped right out into the blast, a static line unhooked. He ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a
way to die.
Gory,
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 what
what
a hell
a
of
hell
a
of a
way
way
to
to
die.
die.
Gory,
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 gory, what
what
a
a
hell of
hell
a
of a
way
way
to
to
die.
die. He
He
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna
jump
jump
no
no
more.
more.
Now there was blood upon the risers, there were brains upon the chute, intestines were hanging from his paratrooper, picked him up still in his chute and poured him from the boots. He
He
ain't
ain't gonna jump
no
no more.
more. Gory,
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 what a
what
hell
a
of
hell
a
of a
way
way
to
to
die.
die. Gory,
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 what
what
a
a
hell
hell
of
of
a
a
way
way
to
to
die.
die.
Gory,
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 what a
what a
hell of
hell
a
of a
way to
way to
die.
die.
He
He
ain't
ain't
gonna
gonna
jump
jump
no
no
more.
more. Now there's 3 more stanzas and so on, so but this is not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that.
Get the video that you showed me there, and there you hear it all the way through with the background and the guys and everybody.
We got a video. We're going to attach it to the show at the end of the show. That was taken up at West Point a few years back or last year, whatever. Well, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? What's going on? Yeah, you got a short. Yeah, you a copy of your book, Vince. How about that?
That's fine.
Where can
And
we get that?
by the way, my book's been translated into French now, and it's selling like hell in Europe in French.
Okay. Where can you get anywhere? Amazon? Any? Or you? Where you get the book? From?
Amazon.com.
Okay.
Or if they want an autographed one, they send to me. I'll put it on the internet. It's you send $25 to P.O. Box 234, Auburn, Illinois 62615, and your return address. And the next day there'll be an autographed copy of the book on its way.
It's on your Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. What do you say, Matt? Oh, we have a couple of questions for you from the audience, Vince.
Okay.
Comments. Go ahead. There you go. Zeke for Blue says, thank you for your service, Vince.
I see it, yeah.
Okay. Patrick Balsa, my dad was in D-Day. God bless all of you great veterans. My son Jimmy in Desert Storm, and my grandson Staff Sergeant Blake Blazer in the reserve, Balsa in the reserves when he was in Iraq. He was stationed in Texas right now. Thank you, Patrick.
And thank them for their service.
Amen. Next. Thank you guys are the best of the best. Thank you, Ronald. Patrick Balser again. Black. Patrick Hawkhill, 1st Armored Cav Division, Headquarters Company, TET 6869, Marical Division. God bless you all tonight from Lancaster, Ohio. Next. Charles Roberts says, thank you for serving our country. Thank you, Charles. Mike Olivier says, he must be Italian.
This guy said,
Yep. Michael.
Yeah,
Pozzini.
totally.
Michael Pozzini. He must be Italian too.
Yep.
Another Goomba. All right. What else you got? Cleve Miles. These men endured the most severe winter in the most extreme part of the war and managed to hold the line of the Bulge. My father among them. Today, we like to think we are tough, but we will never be as tough as they were. The greatest generation. Till my daddy died, his feet stayed cold. How about that?
The first thing that cools off when I go out in the cold is my feet start freezing.
Okay, next. Charlie.
But let me throw in a quickie here.
Yeah, go ahead.
What saved me, as I was walking out of the barracks before we got on the truck, I went by my bed and I had a pair of wool socks hanging over the top of the bed. And I don't know why, but I just grabbed them and I stuck them in my pocket. That meant that I every night there in Bastogne, I could take off my shoes, take my wet socks off, put on a pair of dry socks, put the wet socks up against your belly under your shirt, and the next day these would be cold. I was able to change my socks, and I never got trench foot or frozen feet.
Yeah,
I
good
was
for
one of
you,
the
man.
lucky guys.
I hear you. That's great. Good for you, Vince.
It was just an accident that I grabbed that pair of socks
Right.
and stuck in my pocket.
All right, one more comment there, Vince. Charlie Lee Freddy said, "One of my heroes. Thank you for your service."
All right.
There you go.
It was a pleasure being with you guys tonight.
Thank you, man. God bless you, Vince. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And
Thank
send
you.
me your address. I can send you one of these hats, okay?
Okay.
Send to Are You Airborne, the email.
Yeah, you sent me an email, didn't
Yeah,
you?
Matt sent it to you, right? My son.
Okay, I'll respond to that.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, and welcome home.
Sorry. Wait, you want to say something? Sorry, do you want to say something?
Go ahead, Vince. You want to say something?
No, I'm finished. I'm just looking at how to turn it off.
We can turn you off.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, brother.
Hey,
bless
good
you,
being
man.
with you guys tonight.
You're the best. Thank you.
Talking.
Where?
That's the people.
Where is he?
The audience.
Me?
The audience. Yeah, you're on Zoom.
I'm on?
Yeah.
What's going on out there? Anybody any comments or questions? Okay.
Sign off.
Sign off? All right. Well, thank you for watching.
We do have one here.
One what?
There you go.
Oh, Patrick. My dad and all of you are the best from World War II. Amen to that. They set some great principles in front of us and great the heroics they did, what they had at certain times and places. And thank God the war didn't come to us in this country. Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia, the islands in the Pacific, and Korea, all over the place out there. Thank you, Charlie. I can listen to these guys all night. Well, tell you what, every December, 2 weeks ago, Saturday, we had we commemorate the battling bastards of Bastogne. And where's my thing over here? Nah,
That's right. That's
no, I just wanted. There you go. Yeah. Yep. This was the 59th one back in 2015 at West Point. They this is the church in St. Mary Glees where the guy got stuck up in there. Red buttons played him in the longest day. He got stuck up there and church bells were ringing, and he went deaf. Yeah, the guys are dwindling down. Now it's like a handful. When I joined that organization 35 years ago, there was a lot of World War II guys, and we learned a lot of stuff. But now, since then, see, that was only from 85 to 45. They were 20, and 40 years later, they were 60. But now, they're not like Vince's. He's 95. So not too many of them left. They're precious and part of our heritage and our folklore and the heroism that's displayed in this country.
I got a video of you dancing in World War II jump stuff to commemorate the Battle of Bulge.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on. Tell them what it is.
Who? Oh, yeah. Where are they going to find it?
Right here. Put it.
Okay, here we go. This is a World War II commemorative dance that was held in Paterson, New York. And this was everything. Normandy, Africa, all throughout Europe, and the South Pacific. They had all kinds of different things going on. I'm going to show you a little dancing with the... I was doing some dancing with my jump boots on. Okay, and a World War II uniform that I jumped in Normandy with back in 2016. All right, here we go. All right, there you go. Little soft shoe with the it's hard dancing with Cochran's on. All right, thank you, Charlie Lee. All right, never met anyone. 101st got a lot of photos with 82nd guys. Well, I'll pray for you. Patrick Ball, sir. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to my brother. You do so much. Thank you. For us, God bless you both. Thank you. Thank you. Well, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that my son Matt does. And my other son Zach helps us too. Thank you, Pat, for the moves comment. Perry Musgrove, an X-82nd. You're never X-82nd, my man. You're always paratrooper. 504 at the Devils with Baggy Pants, and thank you for your service. I was at the 320th Artillery with 82nd at Bragg before going to the 101st with in Vietnam. All Americans. All right. Charlie Lee, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too. What do you got, man? Anything else? All right, we're good, man. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. God bless you, and see you next week at LZ Bunker. And welcome home.